Hey there, and welcome to the team. Seriously, whether you're a brand new Dynamics 365 developer joining us today, or just a seasoned pro looking to get completely up to speed on the absolute latest tools, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're diving into an explainer on a massive, and I mean massive, workflow upgrade in the Business Central 2026 release Wave 1. You'll usually hear us just call it BC28. We're going to look at exactly how you can now run your AL tests natively right inside Visual Studio Code. Think of me as your mentor today, guiding you through this, because honestly, mastering this integration right now is going to make your daily coding life so much smoother.
All right, let's quickly look at our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with the context switching problem, then meet the test explorer, figure out choosing a run profile, talk about best practices in automation, and wrap up with the crucial rules and limitations you definitely need to know.
Okay, kicking things right off with Section 1. The context switching problem.
So I really want you to think about your current daily workflow for a second. How much time do you actually lose just switching back and forth between your IDE and the web client? It's a lot, right? Because until this BC28 release, you literally couldn't natively discover and run your AL tests inside Visual Studio Code. You were just constantly bouncing between external test runners or the actual Business Central interface just to see if your logic actually worked. And we all know what happens. You bounce to the browser, it takes a second, you get totally distracted by a Slack message or an email, and boom, your flow state is completely shattered. It kind of makes test-driven development feel like a massive chore.
But here's the best part. That completely changes now. Tighter IDE integration drastically reduces that dreaded context switching and really shortens your feedback loops. You can now discover and run your AL tests directly inside Visual Studio Code. You literally never have to leave the zone. It's basically a new developer superpower. This makes building Dynamics 365 Business Central extensions a beautifully seamless experience, especially when you pair it with a coding agent like GitHub Copilot to help you set up frameworks or even generate your test code.
Moving right along to Section 2, meet the Test Explorer.
So what actually is the Test Explorer? Well, it's your new dedicated view in Visual Studio Code that completely automatically detects your test code units and test methods right within your active workspace. And notice how brilliantly it builds a clean hierarchy for you. It automatically sorts first by your owning app, then it drills down into the specific code unit, and finally, it pinpoints the individual test procedure. It takes literally all the guesswork out of finding your tests. Getting this into your daily routine is super easy. It's just a snappy, simple 4-step loop. Step 1, just open the Test Explorer view in VS Code. Step 2, verify that your test code units have actually populated. Step 3, select the specific test you want to evaluate and just smash that Run button. And finally, Step 4, review the execution progress and outcomes right there in the test results panel. That is the whole shebang. 4 quick steps to execute your very first native test.
All right, next up is Section 3, choosing a run profile.
Okay, so you have 4 distinct run profiles right at your fingertips. First, publish and run. This is your default setting. It publishes the test project and any change dependencies before executing. Now, if you know you don't need to republish, just select Run. And hey, pro tip here, don't make the rookie mistake of constantly republishing when you haven't changed anything. It is a massive waste of your time. Now, when things get a bit tricky, use Run and Debug. That publishes the project and attaches the debugger so you can manually step through your code line by line. And finally, the Coverage Procedure Profile. That one runs your selected tests and actively collects procedure-level code coverage, which is super useful.
Jumping into Section 4, Best Practices and Automation.
Okay, as your mentor, if there is one core rule I want you to etch into your brain, it's this. It's important and helpful to create repeatable tests that can be automated. Because before any Business Central application is released out into the wild, its functionality absolutely must be thoroughly validated. Testing isn't just some annoying box you check at the end of the day. It's an ongoing, iterative process. By using the Test Explorer to build out these repeatable, automated tests, you are essentially building an absolute fortress of reliability around your code.
So let's look at your non-negotiable rules for release. Like we said, testing is an iterative process to ensure functionality. But look at that third point. This is absolutely vital. If you are building an AppSource extension, Microsoft's technical validation actually requires you to include a Visual Studio Code test package with your extension. Seriously, don't just do the bare minimum here if you actually want to pass validation. Include as much code coverage as you possibly can. Trust me, getting comfortable with the VS Code Test Explorer right now guarantees that passing those AppSource requirements is going to be an absolute breeze later on.
Finally, we've reached Section 5, Crucial Rules and Limitations.
So, we need to set up some guardrails. You are fully supported to run these tests from Visual Studio Code in online sandbox environments, as well as any local or on-premises server installations. But let me be crystal clear here. Running these tests on a live production environment is strictly unsupported. Just don't do it, unless, you want to be personally responsible for taking down live business operations. As developers, protecting the live business data is always our #1 priority.
There's also some specific technical fine print you've got to keep in mind. First, tests run from VS Code do not execute under an AL test runner code unit. Because of that, running AI tests simply isn't supported right now. Furthermore, if you have tests that rely on events published by a test runner for setup or teardown, those might actually fail here. And lastly, pay extremely close attention to your isolation. Unless you explicitly set the required test isolation property on the test code unit, the system automatically defaults to code unit level isolation. Keep that in your back pocket so you don't get a massive headache tracking down test data bleed a week from now.
Well, we've eliminated the context switching, we've handed you the controls, and we've laid out all the rules. So I'll leave you with this. What hidden bugs is your very first automated VS Code test going to uncover today? I highly encourage you to immediately open up Visual Studio Code, load up your active workspace, and find out for yourself right now. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy coding.